Name is Anatoly Anatolisova, and this is Patriots Must Rise. Um, I tried broadcasting about an hour ago, and we had some technical difficulties, so I don't know if it took to the channels or not. Um, my internet connection is a hotspot for my phone at this moment because, well, this is World War III, and we are fighting a silent underground resistance guerrilla war against leftist propaganda, and fortunately the ground war has not actually come to America yet, but it will. So be prepared. I'm not trying to scare anybody, it's just the way things work. Um, Here is part of the issue that I want to talk about right now. There is a rather strange disconnect that is happening um, in school age kids, where there's some more supporting a terrorist group, actually believing that Hamas is not a terrorist group because they were elected. First of all, America put Hamas in power. They weren't elected. Don't ever believe that. That was a CIA operation. I mean, Freedom of Information Act makes makes it very easy to get that information. Um, I will put a link in the production notes, so if you want to actually go there, um, please do. Also, it's a basic ideology that terrorism or that makes up terrorism. A lack of compassion, a human compassion, a lack of concern for your fellow man, and a love for death. Um, we do not have that love for death on the conservative side of the aisle. However, that love for death is very well pronounced in on the left side of the aisle. It manifests in euthanasia. It manifests in pro-abortion. It manifests in just basically how they treat people in general. So there shouldn't be any surprise ever that the left would support Palestine. The left claims that Israel stole the land from Palestine. Um, the land was never Palestine's. It was always the Jews. You can see that in biblical text. You can see that in archaeological fact. Um, on the West Bank, there are no pig bones, at all. Why? Because Jewish religious tradition says that pigs are unclean. Therefore, they're not even allowed in behind the walls of the city. The atrocities that we have seen over the past few days, um, the the burned out vehicles with bodies that are basically fossilized in ash, is very reminiscent of what we would see from the time of Adolf Hitler. The left is showing their true colors. Franklin Delano Roosevelt supported Hitler, supported Mussolini. He wrote checks to Hitler um, to further the cause in Germany. And yet, at the same time, we're supposed to believe that somewhere along the line, the the Democrats that founded the Ku Klux Klan changed their ideology, and the Republicans became the white supremacists. I think the true colors are actually coming out right now in how they're supporting this war and the contradiction that's actually being seen in how they support Ukraine. That is a cash cow for every elected official in NATO. And they refuse to support Israel, who was attacked. The hypocrisy is extremely clear. We do not have an option to actually be nice to these people that would rather behead babies than sit down at a peace or sit down at a table and talk about peace. I am more than okay with the idea of sending nukes into the Gaza Strip and eradicating everybody. Hell, I'm okay with doing that to Washington, D.C., because we don't have anybody worth allowing to live in Washington, D.C. The world would be far better off if we got rid of every liberal on the planet. But here's the harsh reality. We're always going to have separation of ideologies. We're always going to have disagreements. And if we started just taking an axe to everybody's head that disagreed with us, the human race wouldn't exist anymore. So we do have to kind of tolerate something. But how much? How much? The last straw for a lot of conservatives was woketards marching down the street and screaming, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your kids. We're coming for your children." If I would have heard that, I would have just gotten in a truck and started bowling them down. I would have started shooting. I would have made sure that the body count was a hell of a lot higher than the people that were still marching. And that's the way we have got to do it. We've got to make these people fear the righteous and make them understand that they put us into a holy war on our side. They're supporting Islam in holy war against the West. Okay, by all means, if you support them so much, please go to the Gaza Strip and see how well you are received, because you will not be treated as a friend. You will be executed on the spot. Your your woke-tarded ways would offend them to such a point that you will be skinned alive and boiled in battery acid. I've seen it. So let's just get real, guys. Let's just get real. Anyway, we have a lot of things that we need to do in America before this election. We have to actually start educating our kids so they don't think it's okay to support a terrorist group and think that they're not going to be lumped together with those terrorists as supporters. We've got college kids, no surprise, planning pro-Hamas rallies on our campuses. That right there, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, JP Sears. I know you think that free speech is important and that we can't have a hypocrisy here. But when you have photographs of headless babies and people burned alive in their cars, and these children are allowed to actually support that, well, Hillary Clinton says that we on the right that actually support Donald Trump need to be reprogrammed. I make the same argument for the people on the left that would actually be so stupid as to think that they have allies in the Gaza Strip. Most of them are women. I actually had somebody comment that she's a woman and she would be more than happy to fight for Hamas. Yes, please go. Please. One thing that people don't seem to understand is Islam doesn't think the same way as the rest of the Western world. Okay? Hamas would actually be very offended that Representative Rashida Tlaib has any authority at all in America, and she knows it. That's why she's in America and not in the Gaza Strip. She would be beheaded, and rightfully so, because she is a liberal, and she contradicts everything that their religion um, actually believes. People say that I'm a little bit too hard on liberals. No, I'm not too hard at all. I'm just calling it as it is. It is utterly ridiculous that people would actually think that they would have any kind of rights in a world that does not recognize American authority. A while back, we had a Olympic female. I think it's a female with these wotards. I don't know how they identify. Um, get arrested for having marijuana on the plane on the way to Russia. She's getting off the plane and she's screaming, "You can't do this to me. I'm an American." Knit. Yeah, Moshe T. I can do this to you because American law does not apply in Russia or anywhere else in the world. The left gets offended when people argue about immigrants being hired without knowing the English language. Well, this badge says that I know firsthand that you cannot fill out the appropriate paperwork to become an American citizen without a prior knowledge of English. Meaning, all these people that do not actually speak English do not have any legal right to be here. And yet, we seem to be overlooking that. It's important that people understand that it is a big deal that we're not vetting the people that are coming into America under Biden. Because we are looking at World War III. Okay? And these are basically, while there are handfuls of children and women that are basically going to be nothing more than sex slaves for the elite in Washington, D.C., they're basically fighting age men, mercenaries for the left. If you haven't figured out what that actually means, you probably need to wake up. Okay? Seriously. We are in World War III. And this, unlike World War I, that was claimed to be the war that would end all wars, this is the last hope for any inkling of freedom in the free world. And the only way we can maintain that freedom is to do everything that we can to resist what is coming. I am Anatoly Anatolisova, and this is Patriots Must Rise. Please like, subscribe, and until next time, live free, die well, and love your neighbor as Christ loved you.